Good morning, good morning. Welcome to the Keto Mom page. How are you doing? We are diving into the book. So, as you're tuning in, good morning. We started the book officially yesterday. We've kind of talked about the book over the last week, and then we're going to keep going. So, as you're tuning in, let's do this. What is one thing you're thankful for? You have to share below. You should always start your morning with gratitude, end your day with gratitude. Super important, gets your heart on track, your mindset on track. So, what are you thankful for? I don't know if you can hear it. So I live in Minnesota. We live on a lake, and it is so windy. So windy. It's super cold, as to be expected. It's winter. But I can hear the wind hitting all of the glass. It's going to be a very cold day. I'm thankful for you. I'm thankful for great productive mornings, and I love homeschooling, so I'm not going to lie. I'm actually thankful for homeschooling. My kids are sleeping. We have 4 daughters. I need to get them up. I usually work through my whole morning routine, and then I go wake them up after my life. So they get to get up pretty soon. All right, so I won't keep you long. If you're at work or you're driving or you're at home, whatever you are doing, I want to give you something to think about today. And so as we're going through this book, it's called The 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth. In the very beginning, yesterday, I'll just recap real quick. We're just ending chapter 1, so that's what we're talking about. But yesterday, we talked about all of the assumptions or what could cause people not to grow or to work on themselves, to work on their mindset. And he talked about the assumption gap, the knowledge gap, the timing gap, the mistake gap, the perfect gap, the inspiration gap, the comparison gap, and the expectation gap, meaning just all of the excuses of why people don't get started. So he talked about, here's some reasons why somebody, you or me or somebody else, might not take action, and it was really about identifying that. So now, at the very end of the chapter, this is super great. He says, here's how you make the transition to intentional growth. In the very beginning, he said his mentor had asked him one question: what are you doing in your life to grow yourself? What does your personal growth look like? And he said, well, I work really hard. That's not personal growth. Well, I do this. That's not personal growth. And he talked about the power of actually being intentional about growing you. And you might be going, I don't know what that means. Well, you're here today, so it's working on your mindset. Personal growth would be reading and podcasts, and do you have a mentor? And what that looks like. And working on your character, personal growth. And so he's going to ask you a couple questions. It's actually really incredible. So there's only a couple pages left of the chapter. And the first one is this: ask the big question right now. He says, how long will this take? The first question he asked his mentor was, how long will this take? And his mentor said, that should not be the question you're asking me, because you should be saying, how far can I go? Let me ask you this. Some of you might be here and you might be doing the keto diet because it's a new year, you have new goals, and you are here to get to swimsuit season. You are here to get to that wedding, right? To look a certain way by a certain time. And I would argue and I would say, listen, I don't want you to set a date on your lifestyle or your health. I want it to be ever flowing, forever and ever. And that's what he talks about. He says mindset and personal growth will never end. Now, not will, it should never end. Just like this lifestyle, you shouldn't get to, and this is what gets people in trouble, you shouldn't get to the swimsuit season or the wedding season or the vacation and then stop what you're doing. You might tweak some things, but then you get back on track and make it a lifestyle so that you feel great forever, right? For the rest of your life. Mindset and personal growth is the same. You shouldn't just read a book and then be done. You should be ever flowing and ever changing and ever working towards the better you. And so this is what he said. He said, I need you to ask yourself these questions. Where do you want to go in your life? What direction do you want to go? What's the furthest that you can ever imagine going? He said, answering these questions will get you started on your personal growth journey. The best you can hope to do in life is to make the most out of whatever you've been given. You do that by investing in yourself, making yourself the best that you can. The more that you go to work with, the greater your potential will be. The more work you do, the greater your potential will be. And the further you should try to go. He says, as my dad used to say to me, and I said this yesterday, and I love this saying. I love it. I love it. To whom to whom much is given, much is expected. Same thing, right? He says, to whom, his dad used to say this, to whomever much is given, much shall be required. He says, give growing your best so that you can become your best. So I love that. He says, ask yourself questions and how far can you go? This book is great. It's going to take us a little while to get through it. It's a thick book. But my hope is to give you something to think about every day. Are you giving your best? Are you going into your day with I get to, not I have to? Looking at every opportunity and conversation and things that might seem like they are a distraction or a barrier and go, what am I supposed to learn here? How can I make this better? How can I be adaptable in just your life? All right, so the first one was ask big questions. The number 2 is do it now. And he basically just says, do it now. His mentor told him, before you get out of bed every morning, and when you climb into bed before you fall asleep every day, he says, I want you to say this phrase 50 times a day. I want you to say, do it now, do it now, do it now, over and over again. That's all I want you to say. To get it into your subconscious mind that I'm going to do what I set out to do. I'm going to do it now, not later. He says the greatest danger you face in this moment is the idea that you will make intentional growth a priority later. Later is a very dangerous word. Don't fall into the trap. Recently, so he talks about, I'm going to read this to you because it was great. He says he read a magazine, and this is what it said, an article in Success Magazine. He says, can there be a more, I don't know this word, weird word. Can this be a more weird word? Later. As in, I'll do it later. Or later, I'll have time to write that book that's been on my mind for the past 5 years. That's me. Or I know I need to straighten out my finances. I'll do it later. Later is one of those dream killers, one of those countless obstacles that we put in that we put up to derail our choices of success, our chances of success, good grief. The diet that starts tomorrow, the job hunt that happens eventually, the pursuit of the life dream that begins with someday, combined with other self-imposed roadblocks and they lock us on autopilot. Why do we do this to ourselves anyways? Why do we take action? Why don't we take action now? Let's face it. The familiar is easy. Listen to this. This is a key phrase. The familiar is easy. The uncharted path is lined with uncertainties. The reason people don't go after better, or they say later, or they make up excuses, or they use one of those assumptions we talked about yesterday, like it's not perfect, I don't know how to do it, not like how do I figure it out, it's I don't know how, I'm not good enough, later, I'll do it later, I've got this to take care of. Later will kill your better. Super important. So, okay, he's got a couple more things to say. We're almost done. Hold tight. Number 3, he basically just says, face the fear factor. People are afraid of 5 different fears. Fear of failure, fear of trading security for the unknown, fear of being overextended financially, the fear of what others will say or think, and the fear of success that will alienate you from your peers. He said, identify what you're afraid of. Why aren't you doing what you feel called to do, what you want to do, where your dreams want to lead you? What is holding you back? And he says, we also have faith. You're going to decide, fear or faith. He says, which emotion will you allow to be stronger? Your answer is important because the stronger emotion wins. I want to encourage you to feed your faith and starve your fear. I know we hear that all the time. We see it on shirts and hats. Fear over faith, but it's very much a conscious decision. Will you feed into fear, which results in the words that you speak, the things that you do or don't do, or you feed into your faith? How do we do that? We read, we get an accountability partner, we ask a mentor to mentor us, we watch good movies and good podcasts. What you feed your mind with will come out in the words you speak, and the words you speak are going to result in the things you believe in yourself. And it doesn't take a long time to talk to somebody to figure out if they are fear-based or faith-based, if they are negative or positive, where their mindset is. All you have to do is talk to somebody for a little bit, and their words and their character will reveal where their mindset is. Doesn't take long. I would challenge you to watch what you're speaking for yourself, but also for others around you. Number 4, change from accidental to intentional growth. People tend to get into the rut of life. They get into an easy groove, and they don't try to break out of the groove because it's easy. It's the known. I already know how to do this, so I'm going to stick with it even if I don't like it, even when it takes them in the wrong direction. So it's interesting. If you were to look at your life and you were to go, I don't really want to do that. I really want to go that way, but it seems hard. I'm just going to stay in the normal because it's easy. Something to think about. He says, what does accidental growth look like versus intentional? Accidental growth is, I'll plan to start tomorrow. Intentional is, I insist to start today. Accidental growth is, I'm going to wait for growth to come. So here's all the things what that's accidental. I'm waiting. I might make a mistake. I'm going to depend on luck. I quit easy. I don't finish. I fall into bad habits. I talk big but don't follow through. I play it safe. I think like a victim mentality. Listen, I can pick out somebody's victim mentality very quickly by 5 minutes of a conversation. Stop learning after graduation. If you have not read a book since graduation, we're going to learn to pick up books or listen to podcasts or audiobooks so that you can continue your personal growth intentionally. Here's what intentional growth looks like. Insists on starting today. Takes complete responsibility to grow. Often learns before mistakes happen. Relies on hard work, not luck. Perseveres long and hard. Fights for good habits. Follows through and finishes, not just starts. Takes risks. Thinks like a learner. You can see it in their character, never stops growing. You grow by just learning. And learning doesn't need to be hours a day. Learning can be 5, 10 minutes sitting down and reading one page. Or being intentional about the words that you speak. Or going, I need to ask some questions and go learn how to do something, not just go, I can't do it. It's a mindset, right? Eleanor Roosevelt said this. I loved it. One's philosophy is not best expressed in words. It is expressed in the choices one makes. All you have to do is watch. And we tell our kids this often. Listen, I can teach you, I can guide you, but ultimately your choices will determine your life, good or bad. And you can look at things that have happened in your life or your friends' lives or people around you. And if you go all the way back to, like, if they're in a not great place, if you go all the way back, you can go, here's the choices you made along the way, and there's consequences to choices, right? There's rewards and consequences. And so today, think about its awareness and choices that you make every day, even if it's just your food. You choose to eat that. Today, you might not see the consequences of that choice. But over time, if you keep choosing that, you will reap the consequences. And so it's not the one donut. It is the donuts multiple times every single day and the cravings that cause you to eat more junk over time. That is a consequence. Or let's choose your hard, right? Have you guys ever heard that poem, Choose Your Hard? Like, it's hard to say no to the donut, but it's also hard to be unhealthy. It's hard to be, I can't remember. I'll have to read it to you tomorrow. Choose your hard, right? It's hard to work on your marriage, but it's hard to be divorced. Choose your hard. It's hard. It was like, it talks about all the different spokes of life, finances, marriage, relationships, physical health. Like, choose your hard. They're both hard, right? It's hard to be unhealthy. You don't feel good. It might be hard to work out but what would you rather do? Here, choose your hard. So, the last thing I would say is this. In the long run, we shape our lives and we shape ourselves. The process never ends until we die, and the choices we make are ultimately our responsibility. If you want to reach your potential and become the person that you were created to be, you must do much more than just experience life and hope that you learn something along the way. You have to be intentional with your growth and where you're going in your choices. You must go out of your way to seize growth opportunities as if your future depends on it. Why? Because it does. Growth doesn't just happen. Not for me, not for you, not for anybody. You have to go after it, you have to want it, and you have to seize it. So, super important, you have to be intentional. If you have not picked a word this year, maybe that should be your word. Intentional. So this is the book. We'll continue to go through it every single day. If you have questions, reach out. Otherwise, as you scroll through the page or check out, there's more recipes to share later today. I'll come on live again. I did a live late last night, 9 o'clock. We talked about macros and carbs and ketones and the core 4. So morning lives are on mindset. A live in the afternoon or the evening, we'll give you a keto tip or trick and talk about the core 4 challenge, which we'll be doing all year long. So I hope you have an incredible day. I'm always here to help, and that's all I've got. So go be productive. Have an awareness that your choices every day, long term, there are rewards or consequences. I'm going after the rewards. To whom much is given, much is expected, but you reap what you sow. You reap what you sow, right? So what are you sowing? In your mindset, in other people, in your body, in taking action or living in fear, you reap what you sow. All right, friends, I hope you have a great day. We'll talk to you soon.